How I fixed my giving up energy. This is the topic that I want to talk to you all because I keep coaching on this a lot lately, and I keep coaching myself on this a lot lately, and I really want to share what helped me break through in dealing with hard times, and I will give you examples of how that can look like in a way that keeps us catapulting to the next level instead of giving up. Um, Lately, I have had a lot of challenges, and I have been dealing a lot of challenges personally and in my family. And I want to share in this episode how I have used them to feel the growth and to keep growing instead of staying in this it's not working, I'm failing, and I don't know how to do type of energy, right? If this is for you, then you should stay until the end because it will be one of those topics where by the end of this, you will feel, oh my God, that's so true. This is what has been happening to me. And I hadn't realized and looked at it this way. Hi everyone, if you're new to this channel and to this episode, my name is Isela Romanova. I am a life coach for transitioning humanitarians. I have been coaching humanitarians for the last 6 years, and in this episode and in this humanitarian millionaire's journey, I talk a lot about what it takes to make the $1 million impact in the industry, in the place that you want to make the impact for, and also do the things that you love doing, right? So, by the way, I should also thank you all for all the amazing birthday messages. I can't thank you enough. I was so surprised that some of the platforms that I'm in, there were more male people messaging me and congratulating. In other platforms, more female, and I'm just like, oh, that's. I don't know what it depends on, but I was just noticing this, so I'm so thankful that you've been sending all your birthday wishes and amazing messages. So let's turn to hard times and how we define hard times. And probably everyone has their own definition. And my definition of hard time is when either in the personal or in the professional life, things are not going the way that you thought it should be going, and your brain feels like this is not working, this is not how it's supposed to be. I thought it would go totally different, and now everything is failing, everything is falling apart. Those are the times that I believe many of our brains qualify as hard times, right? And maybe if we go even specific, it could be health challenges, it could be health challenge in the family, like my mom's cancer illness last year, and then she passing away. This was some of the hardest things that I had to go through. Also, a lot of my clients went through from feeling like they would retire with their jobs in the UN or in the humanitarian system to not knowing where to go and how to proceed, and feeling like all of their lives have been crashing in front of them, right? So these are all hard times. And in hard times like these, and even last week and this week, actually, I had hard time with my family members who came to visit me, and then they got sick, and it was a challenging situation to bring them to emergency room and staying with them, and all of these are very hard times to go through. And in the midst of it, it usually happens that we want to give up the things that we want to work on, or we want to give up on the vision that we want to live, right? it becomes so easy to say, oh, this is happening now, and I can't really dedicate any time to this, and then neglect it. Or it becomes, even if it's something that we were pursuing, let's say that you just started your business and you're wanting to make it work. And then as soon as the prospect says, I can't do this right now, or it's a lot of money, or I don't have time. If they say this, you have this feeling of subtly giving up, right? And little by little, as you keep giving up to a point, then you feel there is no point in even working on this. And I've been coaching my clients a lot on this topic, and I hear you because I have been through a lot on this topic as well. And now at my level, where I am going from replicating and feeling good about certain level of impact, I'm going to $1 million impact, and I can see how my brain is also wanting to give up every time that I see things not going the way I want to, or when I see that like my family member getting sick, and me feeling like, okay, I cannot really focus on anything else right now, and that's fine in the moment. But then afterwards, my brain going into all of this is not working anyway, so why keep trying? Or why keep um, trying this month? Let's do it from next month, right? So all of this probably you can very much relate to it. So in those moments, we treat hard times as something that is not supposed to happen this way, right? This is really how we treat hard times. We treat it as this is not according to our plan. This is not according to our expectation. This is not according to our assumption of how things would go. And therefore, um, we should just give up. And if you have been in this place, I really want you to look at every hard time that you experienced, how you reacted to it. How you reacted to it, and most importantly, let us understand why you react to it this way. When I was studying my own reactions to hard times, this is really comes down to is my assumption that life shouldn't be this way. My assumption that this situation shouldn't be this way. Now, then I went further to ask myself, but why do I assume that it shouldn't be this way? Right? So, why or where does this assumption come from? Because if anything that I have learned in life, and I have I have gone through many, many, many challenging situations, many, many hard times. And I have gone through on the other side. And every one of them that I have gone through, it was some version of struggle, some version of how difficult it was to go through. And all of this because of the assumption that this is happening to me. This is not how it should be. I shouldn't be in this place. Why am I in this place? And because of that, that struggle continued longer than maybe it might have been necessary. So as I was asking myself as to why do I assume that it shouldn't be this way, I had no answer. And you can ask yourself that question too. And I would like for you to really reflect on every hard time that you define as a hard time, whatever your hard time definition is. I would like for you to look at your assumptions or reactions to that hard time. Like if you look at your reactions to that hard time, you'll probably see that your reactions will be something like mine, where you feel frustrated, you feel disappointed, you feel giving up, you feel you're not cut out for it, you feel why bother, what's the point, right? All of these reactions are coming from the assumption that either This is not how it's supposed to be, or the assumption that you cannot handle it. These are two assumptions that are coming from. Then when I looked at, okay, why do I have this assumption that I can't handle it? Because the past evidence shows that I do. I have. Now, the past evidence also shows that I have handled it in the most struggling way. And now let me find another way that is not that struggling. And that's really what I'm after. Then I started looking at, okay, if I assume that it's supposed to be this way, and if I assume that I have what it takes to handle, right? Then what is really happening? Why am I having all this resistance? Why am I having all this drama and complaints about how this is not how it's supposed to be and I got wronged and I don't want to do this and I have to do this and this kind of thing? If I'm no longer using hard time as evidence for how things are not working, that's essentially what we're doing, right? We are using hard times as evidence for how things are not working. So then I thought, okay, if I can't use hard times as evidence for things are not working, then what is really might be happening? And what might be happening is that we are reaching the ceiling of our capacity. And that's a beautiful thing because that's an invitation for us to grow. Right? So if anything that I'm reaching the level, the ceiling of, oh, I'm at this ceiling of capacity and I want to expand that ceiling, then I need to go through that hard time, assuming that it's supposed to be this way and assuming that I can handle it. So the way to handle it that I have always talked to you about is experiencing or allowing those emotions to go through our body. That's really the beginning point. And then once we go through the emotional part of how all of the disappointment, frustration goes through, then instead of giving up, subtly and little by little, looking at it as, oh, this was where my ceiling was. Okay, I see the ceiling now, and I want to expand that ceiling. And let me look at how I can expand that ceiling by managing things and showing up with the same principles, with the same personality that I want to in the hard times as well as in the easier times. Because if we can show up powerfully in the easy times, but we can show up powerfully in hard times, then we're not really showing up the way that we can be in every situation. So, in other words, our identity is not really stable, right? Because whatever the way we show up in the hard times shows what kind of identity we hold, meaning who we are really. So, I would like to be not only living the vision of doing the things I love and working with people I love and making the impact I want to and making the money I want to. I would like to do that, and I would like to show up as the most powerful human being I can be with the most principles that I love upholding to in the most hard of the times. So I was thinking, okay, the best way that I don't give up and I don't continue this giving up energy is by looking at, okay, I can assume that this is how it's supposed to happen because this is how I know where my ceilings are, where my capacity is at the limit, and my job now is to expand that capacity. And I will give you a specific example of how I'm doing it. And I assume that I can handle it because I've handled in the past, only I would like to handle it better now, meaning less struggle and more focused on um, allowing the emotions to go through and then looking at, okay, if it's a ceilings issue and I'm just expanding my ceiling. How do I expand it? And most importantly, these are the hard times where I would like to show up with my principles, that I tell everyone that I uphold these principles, I uphold these standards. If I say these, and if I say these in the easiest times, then I would like to also say it and be able to stand by it in the hardest of times. Right? So let me give you a concrete example of how that's happening. So as I said, the this week and last week has been crazy in the sense that, so during my birthday, I got sick, and I got sick so bad that I couldn't even go to the airport to meet my relatives who are coming from Kyrgyzstan. And then my husband went to meet them, and then he brought them over, and then I still wasn't feeling well. And then I wasn't really able to focus on the work. I was doing the bare minimum. Plus, I signed up for a driving school, as you remember. So I was supposed to attend the classes of the driving school because my driving license from Kyrgyzstan can't be recognized here, right? So, and my work and my creativity and all of these things happening. And then plus, our apartment was not enough, so we left the apartment to my relatives, and then we were hosted by our friends. So, in the midst of all of this, my aunt got sick. And as I was taking care of her, bringing to the hospital, and she has two children, so managing all of this, right? And um, while I was doing all of this, it just felt so hard that, so I was feeling sick. She was feeling sick. We couldn't do all the things that we wanted to do for them because it's their first time in Europe, first time in Italy. And at the same time, I felt like I wasn't really able to do the work that I wanted to do. I had a lot of other plans. All of that I couldn't do. And in all of these hard time moments and situations that have been going on, I had this urge to keep feeling like, I will just give up and let's just do it as of next month. This month is over anyway. So why bother to keep doing the things that I wanted to do anyway, right? So in those moments, I realized, oh, hold on, this is how it's supposed to be, meaning it is happening now. So therefore, this is how it's supposed to be. But most importantly, this is the time when my capacity is at the limit. My brain is saying this is the best you can do. You can go beyond. And in this moment, how can I still show up powerfully to my aunt in her situation, to myself, to attend my own health situation, and at the same time, powerfully showing up to my calls and to my creativity, because that's important to me. And that's the principle that I live by, of doing things um, at the excellence level, doing things with the most care, and helping other people get to their freedom as well. So, therefore, how can I do all of this in the way that feels good to me and in the way that I can keep expanding my capacity? So, I have been able to do this thanks to this realization that hard times might oftentimes be there for us to show where the ceiling is. And then us figuring out, okay, this is a ceiling. Now I want to expand that ceiling to grow and also to keep moving towards the vision or living the vision the way that I want to. That's the reason why hard times show us what the limitations that we were holding on to, and now letting go of those limitations and continuing embodying being the person who shows up with those principles even in the hardest of times. So, my dears, if you would like to work on this, you should absolutely come join my Transitioning Humanitarians community. where we're doing the individual and group coaching on topics of this type and any other that helps you move forward in your transitioning and makes it more successful. There will be a description below to sign up. In the meantime, have a beautiful week.